And welcome back to SIROWORLD 2016. I'm your host, David Temple. I'm here with Derek, Helen, and Kassandra. And true or false, let's start with this. Marketing is everything.
Marketing is everything. I would say
Marketing is everything. I agree.
It's my business. We'd be in it without it. So for me, it is everything.
Good. Then we're off to the right start. We're off to the right start.
Everything.
So let's start here. What should labs know when it comes to developing a marketing strategy? What's like the very first basic element 101 that they should know when developing that strategy?
I would say that the first thing they need to know is how they're going to position themselves. What is it that makes them unique? Why are they different than other labs? And then they can build their entire strategy around how to show that.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Helen?
I agree. It's basically knowing your brand, right, and the value and from your brand, and then sharing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I couldn't say it any better than the ladies have. Every brand is different and unique, but a brand in and of itself is a promise, right?
Absolutely.
So
Right.
you need to take a good hard look at what it is in your service offerings, and you go to market with that.
Okay, so we started off with developing a marketing strategy. My next one was going to be, what about brand? So,
Wow.
so let me step
You
back.
read your mind.
I know. You guys are psychic. Maybe psychic is marketing. Here's my point.
Ah, that would be great too. You have to know your customer.
So it's
If
gonna
you could
start-
read their mind. It would be even better.
It'd be a lot cheaper, wouldn't it?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
So what about brand? What about brand? What about building a brand? How to build a brand? What's most important about building that brand? And how do you build a brand that people remember?
Yeah.
Pick one of those.
That's a lot of questions.
I think from my perspective, when you have a brand in and of itself, it's a promise that you're making to your customer, okay? So from a lab's perspective, what is it that you want to be? Do you want to be a number one service provider in your area? Do you want to be the leader in aesthetics? And then you basically take that foundation, and from my perspective, you build your marketing plan around that. And in the laboratory, we're lucky in that there's several different avenues that you could go down, whether that be through print medium, whether it be social media, and the digital strategy. But knowing who you are in and of itself, the brand that you want to project, that's where you start. And then all those other things kind of follow through when you're putting your plan together.
Yeah, a lot of people think a brand is only the look of it, only the logo and the colors. That's definitely not all of it. It's every time you touch your customer. With logos, there's little tricks that you can do. Like if you're going to design a new logo, since a lot of labs can't afford to have an agency to develop a logo, they might be making it themselves. It's important to think about how you're going to use that logo. So, for example, you need to make it simple enough that you could print it on a pen, and it needs to be in simpler enough colors that you could get it embroidered.
Oh, perfect.
Right? Just
Perfect.
little things to think about like that.
Nice. Okay, so we go marketing strategy. We talk about brand. Now, how about, and you touched on it, about the digital marketing side. I mean, digital, you're hearing all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
I specialize in social media marketing, and so I'll talk about that a little bit. Basically, it's from knowing your brand and then strategizing and then going out there in social media. I mean, we have a wonderful platform now available to us at our fingertips where we can market ourselves for free just with a little bit of money to advertise on social media. We could reach massive amount of people out there that are looking for the type of laboratory that these laboratories own. So every specialty, every niche, every brand should definitely get on social media, go out there and really market themselves in social media.
Let me interject something, because you hear this a lot. Oh, it scares me. I don't know how to tweet. I don't know how to this. I don't know how to that. But you made the point, Helen, perfectly, in that there's no better time that we ad agencies are going to hate me for saying this, but instead of spending that fortune, the power is in the hands of the people.
Yes. And one of the things that social media is good for is because it's such quick turnaround, you get such quick feedback, it can help you find out what works and what doesn't. You can just try something and then see if people like it. And if they don't like it, you try something else.
Right.
And as long as you're trying something, that's better than being scared and not doing anything at all.
Absolutely.
And the possible downside is limited, because if it doesn't work on social media, then mostly the problem is nobody saw it.
Right.
Yeah, and if I could just interject something, I think, interestingly enough, with how the social and digital landscape is changing, the way we're communicating with each other, whether you're a laboratory or outside the industry, is completely doing a 180, whereby what I mean by that is maybe when the dawn of social media, everybody communicated via text. Now it's pictures, it's video,
Yeah.
And from a laboratory perspective, that actually works out very, very well. So I might actually suggest laboratories, invest yourself into a nice high-resolution camera.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you got take some good photos, and then like Helen is saying, that use a Facebook or a social media platform, and that really could be very expressive of who you are as a brand.
Absolutely. And really portraying your brand out there and being the it person, the it source for that specialty that you want to brand yourself.
Yeah, and try to make it a story. People respond really well to stories. So if you can use the same restoration, you can take a picture of it and say, oh, isn't this pretty? But you could also make it a story of how you've changed a patient's smile. And when you can make it into something that people can really latch onto and feel, that makes it a lot more powerful.
And nothing's more powerful than word of mouth, right? So if, back to your point, Derek, everyone's got a cell phone now. You could pull out a cell phone. A lab could pull out a cell phone and say, before
You sure can.
video,
You sure can.
after video, stitch it together, be on their way.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the immediacy, the economy,
Yeah.
transparency, availability.
And this all ties back nicely to our original point about brand. And if you just latch on to something like you want to be a high aesthetic lab, well, you could take some beautifully aesthetic photos.
And
then you could-
establish yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right?
Absolutely.
And you could
Absolutely.
share those through these media, but the big key is consistency. So whether you're sharing it via digital or whether you're sharing it in an ad or even an invoice insert, it all has to be a consistent message along the way. The
Absolutely.
moment you deviate from that is the moment that your audience starts to, question your brand.
Yeah, for example, if you were a high-end aesthetics lab, you'd want to have beautiful print pieces. Your invoices should be gorgeous. If you start deviating with like really cheap-looking invoices, then people might
Yes,
not
everything
believe
should follow
you.
your brand. Yeah, it's all part of the value.
I wish we could all agree on just one thing.
Also important.
Right?
We're mutual fans.
Yeah.
Well, closing comments. What's your favorite? Can you think of a favorite? Any of you, a favorite go-to marketing campaign that you've run across lately that you went, man, this hit it right in the bullseye as far as digital and/or brand and strategy? Can you think of something that you?
Well, in the projects that we do right now that are really hitting the dot is really converting in social media, converting them into customers. And how we do that is just promoting it with consistency. I tell our clients all the time, it's the first winner is when you start your marketing. Second winner is when you're consistent and you keep going forward and not just being upset because 1 or 2 months didn't do it for you, but you're just being consistent. And so converting them into customers on social media, away from the education-based marketing now, we're starting to put more promotions and things like that on social media.
That's nice.
Yep.
And I want to throw in something that I've noticed as a small business owner myself is, especially being a perfectionist, you want everything to be perfect out of the gate. I say, just start.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Right?
Just
Done is
do
better
it.
than perfect.
What's that?
Done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, you have to be able to start somewhere. Don't go out. Marketing sometimes could be scary to those, but as long as you have a solid plan and somewhat of a budget established, even if it's small, like we were talking about social media, that doesn't take a rather large investment to get yourself started. There are things you could invest in dollars-wise down the line, but start somewhere and don't be afraid of it because it really could do wonders for your business.
Absolutely.
Derek, Helen, Cassandra, thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Very nice.
Very welcome.
Get out there and enjoy the rest of the show.
Absolutely.
Thank
You as
you.
well.
Thank you. And that marketing, there it is. Marketing is everything. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to take a short break, come back with more SIROWORLD 2016 right after this.